Hello and welcome to the second part of Captain Salty Pizza Let's Play Fire Emblem 7 part. I don't need to say part 2 there, I just said part 2. Okay, anyway, we're up to the only chapter in Lynn's story that actually has the villains for the rest of the game. The Black Hand. Also get to pick units for the first time. Picking's always great. Except, I don't think I'm really going to change. This level is where I get Lucius, this guy who's walking out now. Here we go. Look at it! Isn't he adorable? Oh, he's the cutest. I've read it before. Anyway, Lucius is a light magic user. And this is my segue into the weapon triangle. I figure that since I have to play through the Lin tutorial anyway, I might as well explain Fire Emblem to people who haven't played it before. So, there's the physical weapons and the magical weapons, and both of them have a triangle of how they work, kind of, which is swords beat axes, and axes beat lances, and lances beat swords. So you'll have a higher chance to hit, more damage, and a higher chance to crit against a weapon that you beat. And it's the same thing for magic. It's elemental magic, like fire and thunder, beats light magic, which beats dark magic, which beats elemental magic. Lucius here is a light magic user, so he ruins the day of this shaman who uses black magic. I think it's technically called ancient magic in the game, because you wouldn't have a black magic user on your team if it was evil. So that was probably an important one. I was playing the Black Hand thing. Oh. Nils is completely broken, for the record, I feel. Because his ability is to give a unit that you've used another chance to move. And that's just so strong. Like, the amount of things you can do with that is off chops. It's a phrase that I haven't used in quite a while. So yeah, and you can he always gets 10 experience every turn, because really the way the game works, you should be able to get him to wake up a unit every turn. And it moves combat math so much into your favor, because it lets you strike first in 2 combats in a row. His sister Ninian has the same ability, but she can also dance to buff your units, so she's even better. But you don't get to keep her, unfortunately. So yeah, as you can see, there's the little arrows to say that the lance I wanted to use then would lose to his axe, but this sword beats him. And then he dies. Magic doesn't interact with physical weapons in any way, or vice versa, so you never get an advantage or disadvantage from magic against the physical weapon. And arrows also completely ignore the weapon triangles. In the GameCube Fire Emblems, there's also knives, which also ignore both triangles. They're only used by thieves and assassins, and in this game, thieves and assassins just use swords. I'm not too big of a fan of knives. I think it's better when thieves can get an advantage against axe users. I think that is more important than not getting a disadvantage. Knives are still cool though, don't get me wrong. So yeah, I think that means only Volk uses them. I don't remember any other thieves or assassins off the top of my head in the GameCube Fire Emblem games. There probably is one, and I just look silly now. So yeah, all the classes are kind of based around the weapons they can use, and so when you class up, which happens when you get a special item, in this one. In the GameCube ones, it also happens when you go above level 20. In this, when you hit level 20, you just stop getting experience. But when you class up, most classes get access to another weapon. Like Let's see. Let's see. Good example. Good example. Uh, what would be the best example? Lucius gets access to staves, like Sarah's healing ability. He's able to start healing people, so you get another support. It's always. It's not. He's obviously not someone you're going to want to be using as a dedicated support because he's such a glass cannon in terms of damage that you want him to be shooting things instead of standing around healing them. But it's always good to have things you can heal. In case I don't know, Sarah isn't able to get to them in time if you're using her. I believe paladins, which are the upgraded versions of the cavaliers, the people on horses. I think they're classed as cavaliers. Cavalier, yeah. I think they get access to axes. The upgraded form of mercenaries get axes as well. Axes and swords is what they have. Upgraded version of fighters gets access to bows, if I remember right. There's also a bunch of classes, of course, that don't get any. Oh, that's inconvenient. That don't get any new weapons. Like thieves don't get to use a new weapon. They stick with swords, but they get access to lethality, which is the special ability for assassins, which gives you 1/3 of your crits become lethal, so they'll kill regardless of how much damage you would normally do. Which is always fun. You'll probably think at this point that crits will just instant kill anything anyway, but they only actually do triple damage. That sounds like it should instant kill everything, but when you're fighting bosses or armored units or I don't know, it's just something you don't do very much damage to. Lethality is always nice for that chance to instantly kill. It has its own special animation compared to the crit as well, like the screen starts flashing and giving kids epilepsy after you do lethality. I wouldn't say lethality is really the main reason you'd get a guy to an assassin though, because you just mostly want the increased stats, I think. Unless you have a killing edge, which is a sword that has an increased crit chance. Lethality is still not going to actually do that much, because your crits will be so low. Thieves and assassins have higher crit chances than most classes, so it's still a thing, but it's not a huge deal. Snipers, which is the upgraded form of archers, is kind of the same. They just get like increased stats and crit chances and such. As opposed to getting access to a new weapon type. Though I think they can use knives in the GameCube ones. It's been a while since I played Path of Radiance, so or Radiant Dawn for that matter. I was gonna do a Let's Play of Radiant Dawn, but my computer couldn't keep up with the recording. So in the end, they didn't end up doing it. Because it was either that or like a 0 frame rate video, and I don't think anyone would have really enjoyed it that much. I mean, who am I to say what you people would enjoy? It's up to you what you get to enjoy. But I think I made the right decision. Plus, that game doesn't have Lucius in it, and Lucius is the best. Game hates me. Miss all the time. Really would have been quite upsetting if Lorena died then. But thankfully that guy, and most of the random guys you face don't actually have a chance to crit you, so it's okay. because the Nintendo don't want people to just like kill themselves because they got critted when they shouldn't have, and it was really upsetting. It is incredibly upsetting the few times you do get critted by an enemy. It makes you feel sick. You're like, this shouldn't have happened. Why can they even crit me there? In the first 45 minutes I did, that ceased to exist. I actually got critted by an enemy with a 33% chance to hit me and a 3% chance to crit, and he critted and killed Kent. I was distraught. You have no idea the suffering I went through. Yeah, hack this, yeah. Hooray. So that's Hector, for those of you who don't know. He's one of the three lords in the main part of the game. He's one of the few characters you'll see using an axe, to be honest, in pretty much anything, really. Like, just think what sort of fantasies you know, and how many people do you know who are main characters who use an axe who aren't dwarves? It's really quite difficult to name them, unless you're naming Hector, which is cheating. So Hector stands out. I mean, it's kind of silly, really, how many main character sword users there are in Fire Emblem, but everyone wants to identify with the sword user, so I guess it's fair. I won't say right though, because it's not. The Black Fang. Did I call them the Black Hand earlier? I think I did. The Black Hand is, of course, in terms of video games, it's from the Command & Conquer Tiberian series. It's the Secret Services of Nod. It's also a terrorist group from real life. That's the terrorist group that started World War II. Fun facts with Pete. Anyway, back to Fire Emblem. And Linda's awful damage. I should have just used the Mani Caddy. I clearly wasn't paying attention to the numbers. Farina does so little damage. So yeah, the main classes of weapons kind of goes what is it? It goes iron, steel, silver, and each weapon gets heavier as you go up. So as a weapon gets heavier, you have less chance to hit and less chance to dodge, but you'll do more damage. So for a character like Lyn, the weight is very important. You're gonna want light weapons, but for someone like Hector, I'd rather not use Hector, but Hector's, because I don't have him yet, but he's probably the best example. But weight's completely irrelevant, because once he's classed up, you can just hit him with anything, and he won't dodge anyway, so, because he'll just take the hit and survive, because he's a boss. Or armored units, like the knights you get later. They can just take hits and be like, what? That's Nils' little song that he plays, for those of you who haven't heard him sing. You won't be able to, because there's a problem with the audio desyncing in my videos, and I can't really fix it all that well, so you get no audio. But that's his little song. He only has that one song, so it gets a bit repetitive, having to hear it every time you want to reactivate a unit. I think that everyone can agree, everyone who's played this Fire Emblem, that he can just stay there. Lucius is by far the most pure maiden in the game. He really is. Just wait till you see his crit animation. It's adorable. It's not really that adorable, but I think I'm making it seem more adorable in my head because I love him so much. I didn't even have to check, because I know that Lucius is that good. that attack animation in general is just adorable, I think. Because it's like he's praying. Oh no, that puts him in. Magic units are really cool because of their versatility, because of how they can be both ranged and melee, I always found. You can make any physical unit both ranged and melee if you give them the ranged version of the weapon, which is the hand axe for axes that Dorcas used in Part 1 and still has, and the javelin for lance users. There's a few special ones for swords, but they're not really the same. There's the light brand, which is my personal favorite, which is a sword when you're in melee range and a light magic weapon when you're attacking at range. I tend to give that to Lynn, even though it's pretty heavy, because that way I get to choose her combats better. Yeah, at least he doesn't have a crit chance. Oh my god. So yeah, units that don't have weapons at all. Because weapons can break after a certain number of uses. I don't know if I mentioned that, but they're the number next to them when you're deciding what weapon to use for combat. That's how many times you can use that weapon before it'll break. So if you all your weapons are broken, then naturally you're lighter, and so you'll have a higher chance to hit. Or if you just don't have a weapon in general, like Nils or Ninian, then again you'll have a higher chance to dodge. I want Lucius to get the experience. Please don't crit him, then. She's gonna crit, isn't she? She's just gonna miss! Damn it. I can still probably do this. And Sarah? No, Sarah's way too low. You can rescue units in this game, which is a nice little cool feature where you can like pick up units with other units, but you can only pick up units that are like a certain weight below you. So like light units can't pick anyone up, but anyone can pick up light units. And then like all your combat stats are halved while you're holding them. Oh, you guys don't get to see Lucius's crit animation this time around. Just take my word for it, because he's a pure maiden. Oh, good. I don't have to seize it. We'll go through this, because it's relevant. Oh no, they took his sister. Which is Ninian, yeah, if you didn't see her before. And this is Lord Eliwood, the main character of the game, that you would have no clue right now. Nils and Ninian are kind of like the MacGuffin of the story. Everyone wants to kidnap them. Well, I say everyone, but there's only like one bad guy. So, I guess it's not too big either. But yeah, Eliwood's the main character. He takes over once Lynn's story ends, and you get Hector like a chapter later. And Eliwood and Hector are like BFFLs. Eliwood is Roy's father. You'll probably know Roy from Smash Bros. Melee. Fun fact about that, Roy's game wasn't actually out until after Melee. So Melee was kind of like advertising. Melee was kind of like advertising for Roy's Fire Emblem game. Normally, Fire Emblem games are set in like a completely different universe. The few exceptions are like this one and Roy's one, though there's pretty much no characters that cross over. Off the top of my head, only I can think of Corel, and you won't see him in this until much later. She's a dancer. And the two GameCube ones are in the same universe. the Ike universe. What a plot device! Twisting her ankle. The game does its best to make sure that you can't have two units that make that reawaken units, because it's broken. You get the point. Ninian's ring got taken by the Black Hand, so we go take it back. Elowood doesn't come with us. Elowood and Hector leave. I know she's like evil and all, but I really like the girl on the left at the moment. She's like one of the Four Fangs. They're the head of the Black Fang. Okay, we're indoors for this mission, so Florine is useless. Her mobility is much less than it should be. I need Matthew to open chests, so we'll go with... who do I get rid of? We'll get rid of Dorcas. Trey, we'll get these weapons off Matthew. Give Lynn the Armor Slayer, so she can take out armored units, and we'll give Lucius the Angelic Robe, so he can buff his health. Hooray, it's also level 26, and Lucius takes a step towards being broken. Formation review here. That'll do. Will it though? Indoors missions are kind of weird, because as you can see right now, Wrath is currently shooting arrows through a solid brick wall. The assumption, I guess, is kind of that he's shooting over the wall, but I don't really know any castles where the walls don't go to the ceiling. Regardless, apparently we're in one right now. And really, that's the important part. That you're in a castle with walls that don't go to the ceiling. What a ridiculous concept. This clearly looks like Matthew's using a dagger. And all of the thieves, obviously, because they're all just color swaps of each other. But I guess they just didn't have the idea to make them into a weapon type. Oh, I'm retarded. Oh, well. I thought Nils would be able to move another square. No, well, doesn't matter. Kent can do the job. Hooray, level 2 Nils. Nils doesn't have combat stats, obviously, because he never classes up. Bard is his only class, so he never gains access to any weapon types, so they'd be completely useless for him. Unlike Sarah, for instance, she can't attack until she classes up and becomes a bishop, and then she gets access to light magic. So that's why Sarah has combat stats, even though she can't attack. Even though some units that can't, other units that can't attack don't have them. The main use of thieves, really, apart from thieves in combat, are kind of like worse versions of Myrmidons and Swordmasters, which that's basically the class that Lyn is, even though she's a lord. They have high dodge chances, but they do low damage, and their crit chances aren't quite as high as Swordmasters. Is Matthew gonna die here? Oh, thank God. I don't know how he got hit by the axe. Like a 32% chance to be shit. Yeah, but so the main reason you use them, because they're not as good as another class in combat, is that they can use lockpicks. So you can open all the doors and chests that you'd need keys for otherwise, and carrying keys is a real hassle. Because you only get 5 inventory slots on each character, so having to give up at least one to a key is really annoying. Assassins can continue to use lockpicks and such, though, so you don't have to worry about that. And assassins get access to lethality, as I mentioned earlier. That differentiates them further from myrmidons and swordmasters. I, I, I really get upset with Lyn because and swordmasters and myrmidons and thieves and assassins and etc. And classes who get their durability from the fact that they're expected to dodge, basically, because there's always a chance the game will just be a dick to you and you won't dodge. And it's really quite infuriating those few times you don't dodge. Because you die, and in Lyn's case, you lose the game. If any unit dies, you lose them permanently. In Lyn's story mode, you lose them for the duration of Lyn's story mode, and then you get them back later in Eliwood's story mode. But if you lose them in Eliwood's story mode, they're gone. Unless you lose Eliwood, Hector, or Lyn, in which case you just lose the game instead. So you're losing because you failed to dodge something that you should have, and losing because you got critted. They all kind of feel the same, in that you feel you get cheated, and no one enjoys getting cheated. Hammer is the axe version of the Armor Slayer. So it's an axe weapon that's particularly good against armor. I'm not sure why a hammer is an axe weapon. I guess you kind of like swing them the same way. I don't know. I've never tried to hit anyone with a hammer, so I can't say, or an axe for that matter. In addition to the basic three iron, steel, and silver weapons, there's also well, of course, there's the javelin and the hand axe that I mentioned before, and Lightbrand, the magic sword, and there's also slim lances, and then there's armor slayers and hammers, and there's a lot of variations on all the weapons. I think next mission you get to see the Reaver weapons, which invert the weapon triangle. So a sword Reaver, which is a lance Reaver. No, I'm making things complicated. A lance Reaver is a sword which beats lances and loses to axes instead of normally losing to lances and beating axes. And then there's a sword Reaver, which is a lance. No, an axe, and then there's the axe Reaver, which is a lance. So if you were just worried about things getting too complicated, then you were right. Then there's the unique weapons like the Manikati and the legendary weapons, and then there's all the kinds of magic you can get, and then there's the different staves which have different support effects. Like there's Berserk is the funnest stave you can get, really. Berserk is it's really inaccurate, but if you hit a unit with it, they'll start attacking their own units. So it's infuriating getting hit by it, naturally. They can come to us. I don't know why I made them come to me. That clearly isn't going to work out. Let's see, Matthew can deal with this guy. No, you can't. In general, magic users they have low defenses, which is for physical, and in general, physical units have lower resistance. So units are kind of better against what they would against what what they are. There's exceptions, obviously, because it'd be boring if everyone was the same. Like, I think Renault, a bishop you get fairly late in the game. I'm pretty sure he has high physical stats compared to everyone else, and compared to all the other magic users. The idea behind that being that he used to be a mercenary, and then he gave his life to God. At the very least, he has a higher strength than all the other magic users. But that's not that important. At least not as important, I guess. See, if I hadn't dodged that first hit, and then I got hit by that second hit, both at 38% chance to hit, Matthew would have died. And the chances on that are just as annoying as a crit, really. I'm being really risky with Kent. Not sure what I was thinking. He'll be fine. Wonder if there's like a way to go in the game files and replace the song Nils plays with like a different song. It's really quite confusing, Lucius' spell being called Lightning, because there's an elemental spell called Thunder. I mean, I think it's confusing, personally. I think they should have chosen better names. I'm sure it was better differentiated in the Japanese version, or something. He'll be right. Bayard. That's strange now. Hooray, Sam. I was just about to drop a tidbit then with a poor choice of words. You see, in Fire Emblem games, there's kind of these no, he'll die. There's these I can't think of a better way to say it. There's trap units, and basically they're not cross dressers. The units you get at there are cross dressers as well, but there's these units you get at the beginning of the game. Generally, they're paladins, and they'll be really high level compared to your party, and you'll think, wow, these guys are really good. I should just use them all the time. And then you use them, and then they take up all your experience, and they cap off, and then everyone else keeps getting better, but they stop getting better, and then eventually they can't do anything. At the moment, you haven't got one because it's Lynn's story, and nothing here matters. But when you get to Eliwood's point, there's a paladin who is basically the perfect definition of this. He gives us a ring and then he kills himself, if you don't know. He poisons himself, I think. This level is a real bitch. Because there's a ballista. And it has ridiculous range, so you basically can't pick Florina on this level. And you have to pick Will, kind of, because he's the only one on your side that can use the ballista. You'd think Wrath would be able to do, but see, look at this. That's the range on the ballista. All those red squares it can hit, and Pegasuses and Wyverns are weak to it. See, there's no point to using Florina on this level because she will get hit and she'll die and you'll hate it. The ballista still takes pot shots at everyone else, of course, but so you kind of have to go over there and kill it, or it'll just ruin your day. It's fairly inaccurate, I guess, so that's always good. but it's still something you don't want to just let them keep shooting. And you get to use it if you kill the guy in it. There aren't that many levels with ballistas, so that's okay. But so look at that, just it's 6 damage from miles away. It's not too big a deal because I can just kill it off. But if it was for Lorena, she might have died. The terrain matters quite a bit in Fire Emblem as well. Not that much, but like cavalry units can't move over mountains, and forests decrease your chance of being hit unless the unit attacking you is also in a forest. Little things like that, I find, matter quite a bit. The mountains thing in particular is annoying. Mountains is annoying because even units that can move over them get restricted by them, except for flyers, of course. Flyers just ignore them straight up, like they do everything else. Except ballistas. I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Probably didn't matter. Yeah. So look at that, down to 44% chance to hit just because I'm standing in the forest. I'm not really sure how I can be in a forest and the unit I'm attacking is apparently on clear ground. But again, like the whole shooting over walls thing, I ignore it because it's better for my sanity that way. "25% chance to crit, so huge. It's ridiculous." Sorry about that. I just had to yawn for a bit. I don't know why I'm yawning at 9:30, but the horse like ruffles a bit for that crit animation. Yeah, you can tell shit's getting serious when the horse is getting involved. Oh, I'm nothing but fleas. Really quite offended by that. Come on, go twice. Yeah. Those foot soldiers, so bad. They get ruined by everyone. I mean, I can tell it. I personally, I think it'd really ruin my day if someone just came along and killed me by attacking me twice just because I'm some poor foot soldier, and he's on a horse and thinks he's all cool and shit. But I hope these guys don't mind because I don't want to cause them any offense because technically they are on the same side as me. Yeah, they're from. I never actually knew how to pronounce this, so I'm gonna do my best and say Ceylon. Ceylon? Kalen? Kalen. We'll go with that. Kalen. That's Lynn's country, where she's of royal blood. But the bad guy of Lynn's story has convinced them all that she's a fake. She's a fraud. She's not. She's the real one. Here we go. Lance River. Inverts the triangle. Yeah, motherfucker. They don't show up that often, Reaver weapons, so you kind of forget about them by the time they do show up, and then they just inconvenience you somewhat. So versatile, magic units. Especially once, like, Lucius gets classed up. The amount of shit he can do. Because he can, like, go around, kill things at a distance, he can heal units, he can cast Berserk. Actually, no, he can't cast Berserk until you get a skill with staves up. But, yeah. I'll show you this quickly. There's all the stats. These ones on the left you can increase. The ones on the right stay the same until you class up. These are all your weapons. That's the number of times you can use them. And here's his skill with weapons. The mastery level. Mastery level goes up as you use those weapons. I didn't mean to reactivate, sorry. Well, the weapons don't actually change that much, depending on which one you're using. In your little battle sprites, the magic you can cast looks quite different. Actually, it's pretty cool. Especially the elemental magics, they all look completely different. It's amazing. Like there's fire and thunder, they obviously look completely different. In the GameCube games, you get even more types. Since I don't remember actually seeing any wind magics in this, but there definitely are in the GameCube games. And now down goes the ballista. Wish Nils could move further. They should like give him a horse or something. Lucius has so much health. I'm so glad I gave him that angelic robe. He still has paper defenses for physical things, but it doesn't matter because he kills everything before they can attack him. Oh, come on, man, crit! I want everyone to see your adorable crit animation. Oh, 28 HP. 1 defense. Yeah, motherfucker. Let's move Willow out of this ballista. There's 3 guys on the bottom there, around the boss. They all have reroll weapons. Because they're dicks. That's probably the entire reason. Let's shoot him. 14 damage. And then we can get Urk to kill him. What a shit name poor Urk has. Oh, Urk almost killed him anyway. Now he gets more experience because he killed a unit. And Lucius can stroll over. Wipe this guy from existence. Still no crit. It doesn't even matter, I just want you guys to see the animation. No, I can't do that. That'll be way too risky. I can't send him down there by himself before reinforcements override. I was considering sending him down by himself by reactivating him. But instead I'll reactivate the ballista. I only get 2 shots with it. So let's shoot this guy. Oh, another ballista's broken. Oh well. Ha! Oh. He actually hit him. Who hits with a 32% chance? 32% is meant to be like 0 in Fire Emblem. Really, everything below 50 kind of feels like it's 0 in Fire Emblem. Except for crits. Like, 25 feels like it's huge for crits, and it is. Even 8 is pretty high for crits. There we go. Magic level weapon increased. Light magic, rather. I need to stop doing that every time he does it. It's going to be just as annoying for you people. Probably even more annoying since we're not that good at whistling. Ever since I was a kid, and I kind of got tricked by it, I've always felt that the Lyn story mode kind of holds your hand too much. Like, when you lose a unit, and then they just come back in the next story mode, it kind of... it doesn't really get the point across that losing units is such a huge deal in Fire Emblem. Because I kind of thought they'd just come back at some point, and then they didn't, and I was really kind of upset by that. So I'm not sure if everyone was as retarded as I was as a kid, but I certainly was as retarded as I was. So I think Lynn's story mode should be shorter, and maybe they should try and make it more relevant to the rest of the game. I understand they kind of solved those problems with the GameCube games, since the tutorial mode in there is like 1-2 levels. I remember Ike's spa with his dad. That was a good tutorial. And didn't waste everyone's time. Or Lance River. Oh yeah, 51%. It's above 50, so it's not 0. It's okay. See how much his damage went down when he lost his advantage? It's so funny how unfortunate the poor mooks are in this game. Poor mooks. This boss is like the second armored guy I've seen. Armor can get pretty annoying really quickly. For the record. As if he doesn't die. Is Lucius on? Yeah, he's on full health. He'll be fine. Still no crit. What did I do to deserve this? That makes things easy. Can you kind of get the idea of how amazing Nils and Ninian are when you can do shit like this and take out a boss before he even has a chance to think of hitting you? Pow. Oh, look at that EXP game. Lucy's totally gonna be level 20 before I leave this one. No, he's not. Don't get silly shit. Yeah, he'll come over. Lightning's gonna break here. Apparently not. Okay, and that's the end of that mission. So, it's almost 50 minutes. I guess that concludes part 2 of my Let's Play. Still not out of the effective tutorial. Ooh, this soldier's okay then. Black-hearted traitors. Yeah, it's because I skipped it, you know, but the ballista takes a shot at Lynn just before the mission starts. Matthew's Hector's personal spy, I think it is, and that's why his class is thief. So he gets pretty important. He gets quite a bit of character development. Most characters in Fire Emblem get nothing, but apart from the lords and like friends of lords. But Matthew gets to be friend of a lord, so he gets a bit. That's not relevant. So, thank you for watching part 2. I understand I might have been a bit too basic if you know your stuff with Fire Emblem in this video. So I apologize for that, but I need to get it out of the way anyway, for anyone who's watching who hasn't played Fire Emblem, and I'm sure some of my friends are watching this who don't know anything about Fire Emblem. So I guess it's better to get it out of the way now, especially since I'll be making tons of terrible jokes once I get into the actual story mode. So, thank you, and once again, offer any criticisms in the comments.